The BE100 is an audiophile living room speaker that isn't meant to replace your soundbar. But how is it? Well, admittedly, I'm actually using the Acro BE100 as a soundbar for my desktop computer because of its small footprint, but I have tested this in the living room. But let's start with the build. The BE100 is a small but hefty speaker with a modern art look wrapped in leather and a floating style aluminum volume ring, offset to the right hand side. The leather isn't really tough as it is soft and I have managed to damage it by accident. Suffice to say, it's not great in a place with children clawing at almost everything. Honestly, not a great start. However, this is more for audiophile listening and looking good on the table. The volume knob is stepped, but very smooth. To the left of that, there are also touch buttons for track controls, play, pause, next, and previous track, with the addition of treble and bass tune options. And despite my model missing the FM radio feature, it still has the preset button embossed. It does have a different look depending on how the light hits the tessellated metal grille covering the drivers. Two of them are the 1.5-inch tweeters and a 1/4-inch woofer, with a separated Class D amps for each speaker for better separation. In addition, the speaker itself has a 32-bit hi-fi DAC, emphasis on 32-bit and hi-fi, as a DAC is a requirement to operate any speaker or driver. On the back is a power input, a service port, and an auxiliary port. While very clean, it is rather lacking, but it does fit in the theme of being put in a living room or even a lounge. There isn't a built-in battery, so it does have to be plugged in. Do note, if you plan on using the BE100 via the auxiliary port, you actually have to pair it via Bluetooth, otherwise it will shut itself off to save power. While the main connectivity option is Bluetooth, the BE100 uses Bluetooth 5, supports LDAC and aptX HD for a higher quality connection. There is no app required to run the speaker. This is great as it is simplified. However, I do wish there was an app to be able to tune the speaker remotely. Speaking of which, there are 6 levels for both treble and bass, starting from 0 going up to 5. This is shown on the LED of the speaker, which is red and is really bright even in a well-lit room. However, it is almost invisible when hit with direct sunlight or excessively bright lights, which I suspect is more of an issue with the white version specifically. There shouldn't be any issues with the black one as there is no light reflecting directly into your eyes, overpowering the red LED. The volume knob is pressed in to change modes and has a light ring underneath. It does go green in auxiliary, blue in Bluetooth, and white when you are changing volume. It is again why I would like to have an app, as you're not able to change the color of the light. It would really be good if I could, for example, turn it into white normally, as it's either blue or green, which kind of messes with the mostly white setup I do have. But how does it sound? First off, it does sound really spacious and unintrusive, which is its best trait, but we'll get back to that. Starting with the bass, it sounds tight and well-rounded with a very light impact or rumble when set to 0. Going up the tuning for bass, more impact and rumble is available, however it starts to get really sloppy and muddy at 3 and above, losing a lot of clarity in the bass. The mids, however, sound clean and neutral with nothing standing out too harshly. It doesn't pull you to pay it too much attention, while the treble is also a similar sounding clean and unintrusive when set to 0, and getting more exciting and bright up to the number 4 setting. And 5 is when sibilance starts to creep in, but it is hardly noticeable. Okay, it doesn't sound like it's a really good sounding speaker, but oddly this is a great neutral and subtle sounding room speaker. The sound seems to be tailored to having a spacious and unintrusive sound, which is a perfect fit so that it feels like background music, even in really high volumes, whereas surprisingly it does not distort even one bit. The BE100 seems to sound like there is a band playing in the room, but allow you to pleasantly continue a conversation. On the other hand, for my use case, where I use it as desktop speakers, while it doesn't sound bad in a small space all of a sudden, it seems to lose some of its unintrusive qualities, but keep the neutral spacious sound. Oddly enough, being closer to the BE100, about 2.5 to 3 feet away in my normal sitting position, the detail increases, but the spaciousness and unintrusiveness of the sound reduces. I noticed that the reduction of spaciousness and unintrusiveness isn't from proximity, and that the additional detail is only apparent when in direct line of the BE100, and being even 1 foot away from the direct line diminishes the listenable detail. In that direct line, there is even some stereo imaging, which is surprising but pleasant to know. I would actually recommend the Acro BE100 if you're going to be putting it where you want to fill out space with music and still be able to have a conversation, while maintaining a high quality spacious sound. You could use it like a soundbar. It is, however, much too tall for that unless you have a TV mounted to the wall. You can use it at the desktop like I am, but it does have to be pointing directly to you for the best experience. You might as well be using an open back headphones like Sundara's, unless of course you want that freedom of movement. But if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and have a nice one.